Alright, so this video is on, I know you're going to kind of hear some other noises. I'm going to mute that real quick, sorry. This is on the software design document. This is the document where like the programmers kind of get, or the software engineering team kind of get to really get into things. To start, we have like our overview, our platform overview, which is going to pretty much tell us what our platform requirements are. So what we're going to need for the front end, the back end, what databases are we going to need? Is it supporting like iOS and Android, just iOS? Is it a web platform as well? Are we using like React Native? Are we using Ionic? Are we using other, like what is all like the stuff that we're going to be using? And then the host requirements for our servers and whatnot, like, and all that stuff. And then we also have to explain our rationale behind that, like why do we need all those things? Why are we using those things? Next we get into our architecture and organization. This is pretty much like what type of system we're going to have again for the front end, how it connects to the backend server, how the backend server connects to the database, how the server software and the databases are residing on like one machine while the client runs on the app, on the phone, browser, whatever, so on and so forth. Then we have our database design, like how are we going to design the database, like what columns, what graphs, what different data tables, the kind of like encryption if we're using passwords in the database, just all that kind of stuff there. And then we're also going to have like an elaboration table, which is like the key database objects and relationships. Then we have our third area where we have method elaboration. We're pretty much just going to like fill out this key methods table where we have what our methods are, what's the description of that method, like the parameters that are going to be passed into that, what screens need to access that, and then the database objects, like what database objects are accessing that as well. We're just pretty much creating like a long table on that. And then we have our database object elaboration table after that, where we're talking about the name of that database object, giving it a description, what are the attributes of it, like is it a string, is it a int, double, float, all that stuff. And then again, we're going to go with the screens that access those, and then our method access. So what methods are going to be accessing these data objects. Next we have like our appendix area, where for our screen decomposition. So pretty much like what this is we're going to be creating like, not exactly like little tables, but having a screen preview with what data object and tables and relevant fields that are going to go into that. With the example that's on the document, the Mumble app, how that first login page is going to be using the user profile, email, password, and then login token. Then underneath that we have the method names and descriptions. So, hello. What the method is and what exactly it's going to be doing in that. So like in this Mumble example that you have on the document, it's like the component didn't mount, it'll call the fetch user profile method and binds the user profile object to the screen's local state, and then checks to see if the login token is still valid, so the user can log in and navigate to the home screen if needed. And then we have, we're pretty much just like copying and pasting this from the FSD document, and we're doing this for every single screen that we have, which is good that we have a bunch of us, because one person doing all that would be like insane. Next we have our appendix B, which is number 6, which is the database object usage per screen, where we have like all of our screens on one side and then the database objects on another, kind of like a little graph or grid, and then we're going to be placing X's on which screens are going to be using those database object screens, so it's easy to kind of keep track. And then lastly we have our method usage per screen. I think that's lastly, yeah, where we have all of our screens listed, and then we're going to have all the methods that are going to be used on each screen, and we put X's by them so that way we know which methods are going to be used on each screen, and it kind of helps out with the organization. So yeah, that's pretty much it in the software design document. Hope you enjoy the rest of your night.